Sweat Equity Podcast and streaming show, pragmatic entrepreneurial advice and dick jokes coming to you, hosted by me, Law Smith, and co-host Eric Reggie. Hashtag Sweat Equity, hashtag 69B2B, help those other businesses that help you out, hashtag Girthy ROI. We're on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Laughable, YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo. I'm only going to do one headlining sponsor. If you want the other sponsors like Roan, Grasshopper, FreshBooks, Warby Parker, you can go to sweatequitypod.com. But today's episode is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Try expressvpn.com/sweat. Get 3 months free off an annual subscription. This is better than a Tor browser. This is better to protect your anonymity and be anonymous online. ExpressVPN. Try expressvpn.com/sweat. Get you 3 months off an annual plan. Holler if you hear me, if you want the hookup, and you can pick any country your IP address is routed to. That's something I didn't know about until just now. Try expressvpn.com/sweat. Get 3 months free. Boom! Let's get this podcast started. Hot done it!
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. Sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
Well, I mean, we got to make sure I have a good trap game. Usually, I've been trying to dress up on this show, but everything's packed.
You went out of your way to not dress up today.
Well, everything's packed right now, so it's like I don't have the podcast equipment. I carefully put away the mics, the mixer, all that stuff. So I'm going rogue. I'm going guerrilla style.
You look like you were like throwing all of your clothes into a wood chipper, and then realized you were naked and needed a shirt to wear, and then ripped it back out of the wood chipper and threw it on.
You know, it's been said on this podcast many times you should wear pants in a Zoom meeting so you don't get caught, but I'm wearing a shirt and no pants. Yeah. All right, so we want to do part 2 as we were talking to Joshua Kennedy of Imagine Marketing, right? You can do your own plugs because, again, I don't have notes. I don't have anything. I stole this computer to do this podcast episode while everything's packed up. But we wanted to do a part 2. I think this will be a good, little subplot storyline if we have the people that listen consistently to your progress. So tell us, I guess, where you were last time, and we'll go from there. So as soon as we got off the last podcast episode.
Yeah, so pretty much last time we had just done a lot of software evaluation. So we were looking at the different, to kind of support the company, and we had decided on the software, and we were using the software and trialing. And we had I believe 1 or 2 clients at the time. And this past month has been really good in terms of just getting our hands dirty as far as doing a lot of the services and the client work and stuff like that, which has been good. We've added a couple clients. And, it's been good in terms of we have seen some unforeseen challenges have come up as far as, the software and things that I just wasn't anticipating that have caused us to have to, pivot a little bit and change, be a little bit flexible. But yeah, I mean, we've definitely grown a lot. We've definitely grown, but it's a lot more client based now than it was the last time I spoke to you.
And you have a nose stud.
I do have a nose. Yes,
you got that done in the last minute, right?
Yeah,
business must be good.
It was in last time. Yeah, it was in last time. I feel like I did add. I was in a tattoo shop and got clients that way. So whatever you can do.
You've got one close to being the neck that makes it very scary. When you see it, you can still cover it up with the collar.
Right. If it was a half an inch higher, it would be a much different conversation for sure.
I heard that's a big demarcation line for tattoos. Once you get above the collar, that means you've definitely killed someone.
You get any more clients, you're going to start to look really, really scary.
Absolutely.
I'll be your client, get a teardrop on your eye, that sort of thing, dude. That's not a good precedent to set.
Absolutely. I'll have to stop putting marks on my body when I get new clients. I'll have to get jewelry or something. We'll do maybe a watch. We'll do a watch.
You're doing the business version of Memento. You just add something to your body every time you get a client.
Yeah, just figuring out what is my business identity, right? Like I've got a tattoo here.
When you get to that Prince Albert piercing, we know you're crushing it. That means you've run out of things to do. But I just thought of that. Don't Google image Prince Albert ever, by the way.
Especially crushing it, Prince Albert, the way you put it.
Don't crush it. Or sounding, if you've ever heard of that. That's where they stick.
No. Don't even
explain it, dude. Don't even explain it. I'm taking you off. You're off the camera.
You can't mute me. You can't mute these.
I can. Hold on. Stand by.
Let me learn this. How to mute.
You can't mute all this. Ooh.
Party.
But what was I say? Well, actually, before we get more into that, why don't you re-explain what you're doing so people that didn't hear the last episode can kind of get your gist of your company.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we are is a basically 100% performance-based affiliate marketing agency. So we use a tracking software to track basically users from different places on the internet, basically. So we try to recruit essentially digital partnerships, which could be people like podcasters or bloggers or wherever. And then we're able to basically provide them links and use coupon codes that are able to monitor and track users from their pages, their websites, their platforms through the checkout process at the different clients that we are serving. And then in exchange for that service, they basically get a commission. So they're almost like a digital sales team. But the cool part of it is that it's all like there's no risk involved because we don't charge really for just like a software, or we don't charge a software fee or an installation fee or anything like that, or even just for our time. It's only based on new customers acquired in sales.
Yeah, and so since we talked in early May last time, and so a lot's kind of changed since then as far as just society's gone around the country. At least like what we dipped into unemployment was higher than the Great Depression, and then now it's I think come back about 3 million jobs in this last 30-day period. So we're seeing that like there's a bounce back effort, but there's still going to be a lot of people that are going to be in this gig economy kind of stuff, going to be doing side hustles. It's kind of why the show exists. And so I think that might be a good thing for anybody listening to maybe contact you as far as, being one of those referral champions for you.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it. And that's kind of, as long as I can get the audience of people and I can explain the software, the service to them, I think that it's a pretty compelling offer.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity for people out there that are looking for those things to work from home they're not like a Rodan and Fields where they're getting the garage inventory of an MLM and getting fucked over eventually, where they can't sell $30,000 worth of all the stuff they have to buy just to be a consultant. I feel bad for a lot of women have to find out who their real friends are, who becomes a Rodan and Fields consultant, or what are the other ones that are big? Mary Kay for older ladies.
Herbalife.
But
what about all the success stories?
Yeah, there is. There's winners and losers.
There's like two at the top.
Part of me, I can look at it like a libertarian, like you make your own decisions, and then part of me is like, it's really taking advantage of people. I go back and forth between the two.
Yeah, quick side note, if you ever have to pay money to get a job, that's not a job.
If it seems like you're gonna, get your foot in on the ground floor or whatever, they're taking you, man.
Yeah. And you just need to recruit people under you, and
they tell two people.
You're like, then I would be a recruiter. So yeah, it's one of those things where I think it will be interesting to see your plight, and I definitely want to try to have you on continually just to see where you're at as a litmus test, because I think that's an interesting thing that you're willing to do on the podcast, but also it's every entrepreneur is going to mess up. So I think I think that part of like, you're not going to have everything set in stone from the get-go, but at least showing people that, hey, I'm figuring out problems as they go. I think that's a valuable trait to show everybody, you know?
Absolutely.
So what, so last time we talked, you know, we kind of talked about broad strokes, I would say, kind of beginner, like strategy stuff, branding. What have you been able to kind of knock out? Have you gone in the forest and done shrooms and found yourself as a company?
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting. Is the last time is we'd focused basically on trying to portray the brand identity, the brand message really clearly, kind of on the the first impression of the website. But then as far as defining who our target client is kind of more that's emerged more since the last time we spoke to you. So I think initially when you start businesses and you want clients, you're so hungry for clients that you don't really have a vetting process, or you don't have a
start getting
client.
Tattoos and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
That's a good selling point. I'll get a tattoo to sign you. That's how committed I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Clients for life. Yeah, for sure.
Whether you like it or not.
And so then kind of an ideal client has emerged for us, which is sort of a Shopify e-commerce store. And we generally like to partner with brands that are sort of like sustainably minded. So we've got a few. We've got like this eco-friendly candle manufacturer. We've got people that are making jewelry out of regenerated materials. So what it allows us to do, though, is not only define our clients, but also access the groups where these people are, communities where these people are hanging out, which has been a good way to recruit people.
So I'll give a couple of steps to helping define target audiences. A lot of people don't. You're right. You get started, and you just have to you got to start bringing in income, no matter what. And you go, I'll figure this out as I go. And that's a lot. Look, that's a lot of entrepreneurship. That's a lot of doing your own thing without like a crazy amount of resources or cash influx from the get go. So a lot of it will be like, I'll just start with this client, knowing that it sounds like you got what you want. But one thing that is a good thing to ask yourself is, what is my dream client? And in a weird way, you'll figure out. But if you want to kind of do more of a specific filtering, and it's tough because all businesses are different. What are the industries they're in? Like what's the bigger categorized industry? And then what are the sectors under that usually? So like, for instance, I do a lot of business development for manufacturers. Underneath that, any kind of computer manufacturers, any kind of aerospace manufacturers is really our sweet spot. So like, that's a subsector of larger one, right? And then look for how many employees, how big they are. For your stuff, it's going to be more about how long have they been around, what's the revenue they've brought in so far. A lot of what we're really doing is assessing risk, right? Because in a professional services business, what you're trying to do is figure out the risk mitigation of that, right? If you're going to put a lot of effort, the way your stuff's set up is it might be more of a time thing where you're setting up with them, instead of like a labor, like we were agency. Doing the actual services is that time block. That's the labor cost. That's what they're paying for. For you, your time is going to be relative to how much revenue is coming in, because it's a commission-based kind of hub and spoke model, right? So what you're trying to do on your side is assess risk and what you can do to kind of nudge them forward, right?
Yeah. No,
I always look at like, what are the six pieces of criteria I'm looking for in that target audience. Right. And we look for people in the growth phase, and they have marketing stuff, but they know they need more help, and they're not doing it. And so it's that thing where we need to come in. We know we're coming in for a year, maybe 3, helping them out, but it's not going to be forever. And so that's like our sweet spot, B2B, SMB, business to business, small to medium business. So for you, your criteria might be Shopify, someone who's been doing it maybe, or an Etsy store, or someone who's got an e-commerce, a bit of a structure, already. And then kind of, you tell me, I don't know if you have that criteria set up.
Yeah, no, basically what the thing is for us is the Shopify store just makes it for the easiest integration with the software that we use because they already have an app. So it's like 5 minutes or less so we can get you up and running. And then Shopify is just one of the most popular e-commerce platforms out there. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But the other thing, as far as like, it's just really proof of sales, right? So it's like, just like kind of an evaluation of your website and just make sure that we don't want to, there are a lot of new Shopify stores and new businesses that are registered all the time, but we don't want to take a business or walk a business from 0 to 1. We want to take them from 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 in revenue to wherever, so that's kind of our boundary, if you will, as a company.
Yeah. You don't want to take them from incubation stage or ideation stage. Here's what we're trying to do I make homemade jewelry. There's a lot of moms that do that kind of business online.
Former Mary Kay jeweler, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with that. You can make money doing it. It's just tough. You don't realize like the thing you actually like, and this goes for almost any business you start. The thing you like doing and the thing you're good at as the service or whatever you're producing, it becomes 5 to 10% of your time, and everything else. So you like. I love helping companies get from point A to point B. That's what satisfies me doing what I do. But it's that thing of like sometimes that only becomes a fraction of your time, right? And when you do homemade jewelry, you're like, I just like doing this on the side. This is fun. But when you try to make it a company, it's like, oh, you have to figure out logistics of shipping and the costs of shipping and how this shit should be packed, how it should be unboxed, how it should be bundled together and pricing model, and it can overwhelm. So Eric looks like he has a question, but I can't tell.
What? No. I was just
going
to say...
you're in the little box. On my,
I know. Well, I don't need to be in any
You're leaning
in.
You're leaning in like, whoa.
No, I was just going to say, it's like, with that sort of stuff, it's just sell the idea to Walmart or sell it to somebody, a manufacturer, so they can sell it to Walmart or whatever. It's always just like, that's a stepping stone sort of thing.
So my professor, Dr. Kincaid, my undergrad entrepreneurship professor, we used to write business plans for our entrepreneurship program. His advice, for fun, funsies, yeah. Wrote one for a crematorium. Cool. But I did one for a glass bottom dolphin boat in Gulf Shores, Alabama. I found that business plan as I'm moving out, and I'm like, God damn, this thing sucks.
You just pushed it too far with the bottomless captain that you had to have.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm, again, not wearing pants right now, so it's kind of apropos.
I know.
Maybe that's why I was thinking about it.
Bottomless.
By the way, no one on the call is wearing pants, actually.
Yeah, but I'm not wearing any boxers, no MeUndies, nothing. I'm wearing one eye patch over one ball because I hit it on something, and it's serving as a sling. But that's just one. I don't really count that as clothing.
That's fun.
That's what you do when you get crazy by yourself.
I enjoyed that visual. Thank you.
Yeah, but he was always like, your second slide should be your exit strategy, and that sounds counterintuitive because a lot of business plans you're trying to get funding or whatever, but it's just what Eric said. It's like every business has an exit, and if you don't have really multiple options of what you want to do as far as an exit plan, it's going to be tough. But that's just something I wanted to throw in there. What else have you realized for your company in the last 30 plus days?
Yeah, one of the things is that I guess so. A lot of it kind of breaks up into a couple different parts. So we're basically trying to get referral traffic from different digital partners, right? So a lot of the referral traffic online comes from these big publishers, like Hearst magazines and all that. So like Men's Health, Women's Health, Cosmopolitan, all these things. And I thought that I would be able to use some of those relationships in the software that we're using currently to just get them kind of on the platform. But a lot of those people have their preferred methods of working. So it's like having to adapt to how these companies already work, right? And trying to work with the software that they're using, getting alternative setups with my client sites and stuff like that. So it's not as direct or as easy. I think that was a challenge that came up for us. But And then also not only it's being able to work around that. So knowing that, and maybe knowing that I'm not going to be able to access basically the top 10 blue links on a particular search for a product, because most of those are occupied by the major media companies, is trying to find, I guess, the smaller alternative sort of partners and stuff like that has been the long tail partners, if you will, is something that I've been trying to focus on.
So what you would call the alt scene, if people that aren't already with a conglomerate system.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
So have you kind of brainstormed a strategy how to kind of go about that, or is that kind of just a new issue you figured that's going on?
Yeah, all those basically the conglomerate, if you will, right? So they all work with this. Most of them work with either the huge affiliate networks, which I mentioned in the last show, or they work with this company called Skimlink. So one of the ways to do it is I'm actually going to sign up as the sort of like as the manager for each individual client that I have on this network, right? So not run it as my company. So that's been kind of one of the ways I've been able to get around it, and then just not use like website pages or content pages as referral sources. So trying to find other platforms, other mediums where I can get referrals other than just the whatever you type in online and the web page that comes up to try to answer your question.
Can I pitch an idea, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
Bottomless web services.
A lot of fans only, or only fans. I don't know why I confuse those all the time, but you could do that.
Yeah, like personally, or like
it should be everybody doing Zoom calls, but just the cameras on the bottom half.
Bottom hustle.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
Or
power from the bottom, whatever you want.
I already did. It's all right. I already have the perfect name. Bottom hustle. Let's move on from that.
Okay.
Come on.
That was a 10 out of 10 out of the gate.
I know.
I was trying to tell someone the other day. You do. Not a lot of people know how like a writer's room for jokes go, but you basically, I do this for brand naming or like some kind of campaign you're trying to do on a bigger scale for advertising purposes. I try to go, let's give it a name. But Eric's is a 9 out of 10. Let's see if we can beat that. If we can't beat that, we can't, so that's how you should do a lot of brand naming, a lot of company naming, whatever it is. But what I'd say is, one thing I think where you can build a lot of credibility, it's something I've been sitting on for this podcast, is kind of community building. So like digital community building, meaning that our friends at Something Planet podcast, they've been doing a good job cultivating a lot of weird memes in their Facebook group. They started, I don't know, a couple months ago. But it's gotten them way more I can tell it's gotten them way more traction in terms of people that didn't really listen, or they listened to the podcast a little bit and now they're more invested. It kind of creates the non-show property for them to kind of keep a relationship going, right?
And we absolutely need to do that for us too, by the way.
That's
stupid that we don't.
I know, we're dumb.
Participate more in the Something Planet dick joke group.
I can't decide if we do a Facebook group or Slack, an open Slack, or both, and figure out how to integrate them. But for you, for what you're doing, I think you could do something that is helpful for people that need e-commerce help, like a Facebook group that it's not like it's under the guise of a Facebook group that you're trying to sneak anything by them, but I would make it something where you're helping them with e-commerce issues, right? And make a Facebook group for that, lead everybody over there, because you can see Facebook's also making a push for groups more and more. So there's also that you always have to look at the macro and micro view of everything online. But for you, making a group where you're just helping get a group going, a community of people that have e-commerce issues, that might be huge in terms of like, it's a slow game for sure, but you might learn a lot too. I'm a big believer of like, joining a lot of communities just to kind of seep in whatever knowledge that helps me, because you're not going to know everything, especially in the online world. It's infinite. And so, but also like the empathy of like having the empathy of potential these potential targets you want to talk to, if you figure out their pain point and what they're searching for after a while using this group, then you can make a search ad that's feeding that, right? That's so specific that you're hitting those people. Or like...
It's like guerrilla market research.
Well, what a lot of people are doing now, I mean, it's pretty gangster, is there's every city has this. So if you're listening, whatever city you're in, there's a bunch of neighborhood-esque, like whatever your neighborhood is, West Hollywood Facebook group or something for selling stuff.
Famously gay neighborhood. I don't know why you chose West Hollywood.
I used to live there on Martel Avenue.
Oh, you're a mayor. Okay.
Yeah. I used to live in a garage there. Take that for what, like a real garage, not like a garage apartment.
I don't know that gay term. Hold on.
In the garage?
Yeah.
It's a double wide?
You do it in the garage.
I seriously, in 10 years ago, I lived in a garage in West Hollywood, and that sounded like the gayest thing I could ever say.
Yeah.
I live in a dungeon. But it was great. I had 3 women that lived in a house that were friends of mine, and then they were like, there's a garage that the owner of the place we're renting.
Did they help you move in?
Yeah. They tried to make it into like a suite, and he just like gave up like step 3 in.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's carpet on the ground, and there's an AC unit. And I was like, fuck it, I'll clean this fucker up, and I'll live in there. And it was kind of awesome. But I felt
one of the girls picked the AC unit up and lifted it over her head and threw it out the window.
Why would she do? Maureen wouldn't do that.
Oh.
No, it was actually awesome because the AC unit was better than the house. The only problem was if you had to take a shit. You had to take a shit, you had to go inside.
What kind was it?
I think it was a Ream.
I don't like these Zoom interviews. I don't have my sound effects.
You can't have your sound effects.
I don't know if my computer can handle it, honestly.
Oh. You can just pull your phone up to the mic.
It's not the same.
I know. But what was I talking about? Getting double-wided?
West Hollywood.
Yeah, West Hollywood. Sweet.
So the gangster move, a lot, the more guerrilla move I see a lot of the time now, and this has been going on for about 2 years, is Facebook groups. A lot of them are really set up to get people to pay them to advertise within the group because everybody sees the notification. So whereas an ad, you're still targeting people and they can skim by it. But if you have a group where the default setting is anytime something's posted in here, you get a notification, that's really powerful because it's going to drive about 90% of the people in the group over to that post.
It's the same with live videos, how they have that as their go-to thing.
But they've toggled those, right? So for a while, it was when they busted it out, you did live video. We did it as a tactic for us because it's novelty, right?
Yeah.
It would show almost everybody you're friends with. Then they just stopped doing it completely. Then they came back to like notifying you sometimes and sometimes not. And then sometimes with brands that you don't really want to follow, right?
Yeah. Well, Instagram has it. They get you. Like every time, because an Instagram notification, if it looks the same as any other notification,
right? It
won't say they're live now.
I follow someone that does yoga locally, and she's been doing it every day. I keep forgetting to turn it off, but that's the thing. Like,
forgetful law.
Well, I mean,
what was I doing? Whatever.
Yogi law.
My day.
Do you see? You see all this? I have to do Diamond Dallas Page yoga. You see all this? You see all this mass?
Are you for real though? The DDP yoga?
I'll do it.
No, I'm not. I was asking if you were.
I need to.
Okay, that's not what I'm. So no.
I don't want.
No is the answer.
The app sucks
so bad. He's not doing it, everyone.
The app sucks so bad. I don't like. I do yoga with Tim on YouTube for free. And by the way,
from West Hollywood.
If you want to watch a guy make jokes, he does it by himself. He films it by himself. Like the beginning ones, he has a cameraman, obviously, and then he starts doing them on his own and tries to make these little dad jokes like as he's doing it and laughs to himself. It is the most unintentional comedy. Like it's so funny. He's like, like that kind of like. laughing to himself.
Hear it echo through his empty house.
It's so fucking funny. But the community building thing where you do a Facebook group, you should probably join a bunch as just like what you're talking about, doing a little dummy testing research for your competition. In a similar way, you're kind of doing that to get a feel for out there. Like Eric and I like Reddit a lot. There's a lot of garbage on there, but if you want to start a riot, apparently that's where you find out where to go.
Logistics.
Apparently
or how to be peaceful during
these times. It's all out there. I mean, it's not. You choose. You're cultivating your feed.
I like there's some stuff. There's some subreddits I like that help with work to understand a little bit more the online world sometimes. But I also like the ones that just kind of help curiosity, where it's like, here's a subreddit of shower thoughts, which is one of my favorites because it's just funny. But finding these like online communities, I think will help. But Facebook groups seem to be probably where people are going to go. If I'm someone that has an e-commerce store, I'm doing okay, and I need help, I'm going to probably not be like on the vanguard of digital marketing knowledge or digital knowledge in general. And so Facebook would probably be one of the first go-to things. And then if you really want to do it, the gangster thing that a lot of companies have been doing is they'll pay the administrator that made the group, and the person that made the group for the West Hollywood whatever swap and shop, they didn't make the group because they're a community builder. A lot of them made them to get people to pay them to advertise within the group. So you do a message to the administrator of an e-commerce kind of networking group or whatever problem-solving group, and then you can pay them like something cheap, pretty cheap for relative to online ads. And you go, hey, I'll pay $40 to post something about like what you're doing. And that's pretty cost effective when it's all said and done. So, but again, you want to go infiltrate these groups like Fight Club, the beginning of Fight Club, and go to as many like AA meetings as you can, or whatever support groups as you can, to see which one's legit and which one's not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and to kind of just add on to that is that one of our clients, one of our biggest clients so far, is a national, basically candle maker distributor that we brought on, and it was through a Facebook group is when we met them. So I kind of already seen the power of this group so far already.
Do they have the Donnell Rawlings, Ashy Larry smell candle?
I wish I could get the reference. They do not, but
I don't either. I know Donnell Rawlings.
From Chappelle Show?
I watched a little bit of the Chappelle Show. I didn't.
Oh,
not
damn.
Enough.
Okay.
Not the dude.
How old are you,
for me on Sweat? It was like when I was like 10 years old. The Chappelle Show was on.
Still, it's probably more relevant now than it's ever been.
It still has my favorite sketch of all time. Is the
best.
The blind Klansman, the black guy. I mean, that is my favorite.
They made a movie out of that.
I mean,
Spike Lee made a movie from that.
Yeah, but that's even that 5-minute snippet, because I saw the movie too. That was better than it's so perfect. I love that.
Oh yeah. But what I'm saying is like that's the best show. That's the best comedy of all time.
Probably.
Definitely the best skit show of all time.
Yeah, I've seen a few episodes, but I'll have to go back and brush up a little bit for sure.
Find out where that's streaming and get you on that. You're not welcome back until you watch all the episodes and you get our references.
I'll do a weekly report of my business and then how the Chappelle Show progress is going as well. Yeah, I'll check in with you guys. Key
and Peele's probably your Chappelle Show, or maybe Mind of Mencia. But yeah, I think help figuring out your target audiences through just like being a part of them, right? Acting as if you're a customer. It's going to give you that empathy. You got it. Once you get the filters down, what we kind of explained before, trying to figure out the psychology and where they need help. And that's when it's going to be a game changer for you, because then you're going to know that point of contact to make, where you're going, okay, I know where you're at. We've helped this, and now you'll have the candle company, and you'll go, we've helped them go from here to here. Now I have a case study. Now I have a reference point to go. Hey, here's what we helped them do. So yeah, let's have you on again in a month to see what's going on, man.
Yeah, I'll try to squeeze in a couple of Chappelle episodes for sure. I'll rewatch that skit for you.
Thank you.
We might have just ruined your productivity, man.
I know.
It might be a lost weekend.
They hold up. Don't worry.
But worth it. They do. They definitely do.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, and yeah, we'll have you on in a month.
Yeah, appreciate it.
See you guys.
Later, man.